Okay.
So my intention was to go back down there and when I graduate, stay in North Carolina.
Okay.
I was about a half an hour away from my dad's parents and about an hour away from my mom's parents, and I was my plan was working. It was working.
Okay.
I'd met a young lady that lived in Richmond, Virginia, and if you'd asked me at the time if that had been my future wife, I'd have said yeah.
Wow.
So anyway, my last year in college, I'd finished all my coursework and I had to take a lot of electives, so I took some adaptive PE classes.
Okay.
That got me out into the community working with children with special needs. So that's where I got exposed to kids with special needs. The college campus that I went to at the time was the only campus east of the Mississippi that was barrier-free. What does that mean? It means it had ramps, elevators, electric doors, so there's a lot of people...
No barriers.
No barriers. So
Okay.
a lot of people in wheelchairs.
Okay. Going to school.
Going to college.
Okay.
Intellectually, they were fine. Physically, they were disabled.
Okay.
And so that's where I got exposed to folks with physical disabilities. And like I said, I worked for KSI 2 summers, my sophomore summer and my junior summer. And the gentleman that was running KSI at the time was Joe Shahan.
Okay.
He called me down there in North Carolina when I graduated and offered me a job. And I said...
Because of where you had went to college?
Well, I'd worked for him in the summers,
Okay.
so I knew what was going on.
Okay.
At the time, KSI had about 140 people working out at Procter & Gamble on 3 shifts.
On the backside of Dover?
Yep.
Okay.
So he needed help out there, and I'd been out there before when I was working for him in the summers. He said, I really need some help. You know what's going on. You can immediately make an impact. And I respectfully turned him down. I said, Joe, I'm afraid if I come back to Delaware, I'll end up here. And I said, I want to stay in North Carolina. So a couple days went by, and my mom and dad had always taught us that, you're never going to get where you're going to get by yourself. It's going to take help from other people.
Okay.
And there comes a point in time where you're going to have to help somebody get where they need to go.
Mm-hmm.
So he'd given me a job in the summer, so I felt like I needed to repay the favor.
Okay.
So I called him up. I said, Joe, do you still need help? And he said, yeah, I do. I said, okay, well, I'll come. This is in May. I said, I'm coming, but there's just one thing you got to understand. Come January, I'm coming back to North Carolina.
Okay.
Never.
You were prepping him ahead of time.
I've been at KSI for over 30 years.
No kidding.
Yep. One thing
Wow.
led to another, but
So you were involved when they moved from Dover to Milford?
yes.
Is that what, did they do something at Woodside, or am I?
Yes, we have. That was our main campus. Was the Woodside. It's a brick building. It sits out in front of Polytech there.
It's still...
Still there. We leased that property to the state of Delaware. They
Really?
run programs out of there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And at the time in 1985, we actually had about 5 sites going.
Okay.
We had the Woodside, Bridgeville, out here in the old furniture place. We had
Oh, yeah.
We had that. We had a shop in Georgetown. We had a small shop on Stokely Center, and we had a small shop in Milford. When we purchased that building in Milford, it was perfect because
What was that building?
it was originally a clothing factory and a hosiery mill.
Okay. Okay.
When we bought it, it was being leased by, well, they were trying to purchase it by a Guida Clothing who was making rain suits for the government.
Okay.
So Guida got into financial trouble. The state of Delaware guaranteed the loan, so we were able to get a really good price on the building because we stepped in and bought it and saved everybody's tail end in that whole
Okay.
deal. We leased part of the building back to Guida,
Okay.
and then, after about 6 months, I think it was, they left in the middle of the night, didn't pay their employees, didn't pay their
Really?
electric bill, gone, never to be heard from again. Best thing ever happened.
Okay.
So we got that part of the building cleaned up, moved into it. When my father came there in '85,
So you worked there before your father?
it was an interesting conversation. When what happened tragically.
You had to
was-
give him a recommendation?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
A good one too, by the way.
Okay.
But what happened was Joe Shahan suddenly died of a heart attack. I mean,
Okay.
he left a wife and a small daughter. It was a real bad deal for a while there. But at the time, Cliff was the director of vocational rehabilitation for the state of Delaware, and he was having to drive to Wilmington about 4 times a week.
Okay.
It was going to kill him. That was before Route 1.
Right.
All them stoplights going up and back. And he saw an opportunity, man, to take some stress out of his life. And, my dad really, in spirit, is an entrepreneur. He doesn't like a bureaucracy to where everything's all penned down and you can't do anything, and everybody's always telling you why you can't, why you shouldn't.
Right.
Instead of, let's get that stuff out of my way so we can get something done.
Right.
So he saw KSI as that opportunity, and I got to tell you, he had a huge impact on our organization.
Wow.
Huge impact on our organization. We're actually 51 years old this year.
Really?
Yeah, we were started in 1962, and it's interesting. We were started by a group of parents that had adult children with disabilities that were starting to get older.
Okay.
So they were becoming
From around here?
Yeah, locally. Yeah.
Okay.
In the Dover area. So they got concerned about who's going to take care of my child when I'm not here, because back then, if you had a child with a disability, the doctors were telling you send them to Stokely. They're going to ruin your family. You don't have the time. You don't have the resources. And these families had chosen not to do that. So they were becoming concerned, what happens when me and my wife pass away? Who's going to take care of our child, or who's going to look out for them in their best interest? And out of that came a day program, which was originally called the Opportunity Center. The KSI's first name was the Opportunity Center. We were started with a $10,000 grant from DFRC. Okay. The guys that run the Blue Gold football game.
Right.
We got the proceeds from the Blue Gold football game one year. They gave us $10,000.
Really?
And out of that, Opportunity Center was started. Then, I wasn't there then, but they say we served 10 to 16 people that year. Now we're serving over 300 a day.
Gosh.
They had, I think, 6 staff. Now we got about 104 staff. So, we're about an $8 million a year organization.
Wow.
And we have one of the largest private transportation systems in the state.
What do you mean by that? You haul your own people?
We pick up everybody door to door. We pick them up at home and take them to services or to employment. And then
in your vehicles with your people?
In our vehicle with our drivers. Yeah, we have right now we have 30 drivers.
So everybody that works at KSI comes there.
Well, we provide employment at KSI. We also provide employment at Procter & Gamble.
Right.
Kraft Foods. We operate the Postal Center on Dover Air Force Base on a federal contract.
Okay.
We have a crew that works at Merck Animal Health down in Millsboro. Used to be Intervet.
Right.
We got a crew there, and then we got a small crew at SPI Pharma in Lewis, which they extract magnesium from Delaware Bay for Maalox products, Tums, Maalox,
wow,
Pepto-Bismol, and we refurbish barrels down there for those guys.
So you have people that go out and go to businesses like Procter & Gamble or whatever and say, hey, do you have something that we can do for you? You train the person. I think you actually send the person and a trainer.
Yeah, we provide that. We provide supervision. We provide all that, and we provide extra supervision because some of our folks have other challenges,
right?
But that's why KSI exists, man, to provide those provide those services,
right,
to meet those. So we take those things away.
Right, so you're removing barriers,
so that those folks can be successful in employment.
This has got to have been a very rewarding career for you.
Jim, I can't tell you how awesome it is. I mean, I've seen some really cool stuff happen for people. I've seen people that they said would never be able to work, now living and working independently, have their own apartment, working independently, taking care of themselves, don't need our services anymore. I mean, it's almost to the point where they've graduated.
Right, you've helped them grow.
Yeah.
You've helped them become independent.
Yeah.
And overcome what a lot of people would...
Well, Jim, the thing about you and I is, and don't take this wrong, but you and I have deficits too, and disabilities, and things that we're not good at. But we don't put ourselves in situations where they show.
True, right.
We play to our strengths.
Right.
And that's what we do for the people we serve, man, is we play to their strengths. We don't talk about what they can't do. We try and find what they can do. I can give you a real good example of that. We had a gentleman that we kept placing, and he was lewd, spoke vulgar, chewed tobacco, spit, didn't speak highly of women. Okay. And he kept getting bounced out of these jobs that we were placing him in. We finally placed him in a tire changing shop.
Okay.
All right? So the job coach is going back, and, usually 6 weeks, about as long as he holds a job. So she's going back, and they're saying, no, he's great, man. He's a hard worker. He shows up on time, stays over if we need him to, and all that, And she's like going, well, this is like 3 months out. And she's like going, something. Can I see him? She wants to make sure he's still alive.
Make sure it's the right guy.
Yeah. So she goes back into his work area, and there is him and 4 other people like him.
Okay.
We had to find.
They all talk the same language.
Yeah. I mean, we were trying to put a square in a round hole,
right.
And when we found a round hole for the guy, and that's what we do.
Okay.
Once you start trying to make everything work for everybody, and say, okay, this is an individual. Let me identify what they got going on and what they need help with, and then get their commitment to do that. We can make some cool stuff happen for people. And
you're showing such an interest in them. I'm sure they're probably a better worker than average.
Absolutely.
In other words, because you've invested in them, and you're just trying to help them find what's best for them.
Jim, if my van's 10 minutes late, they're calling, wanting to know where I'm at.
Really?
Now, wouldn't you want an employee?
Yeah.
That's calling in and say, hey, man, I'm ready to go to work, man. Come get me. Instead of trying to sneak out.
Right. Not make eye contact.
Exactly.
Wow.
And that's what we do. That's what
we do. Do you do also things, you do things at the big building there in Milford, right?
Absolutely. We do a lot of shrink wrapping. We do a lot of packaging.
Mailing. Packaging might be where somebody wants this bottle of shampoo, put with this bottle of conditioner, put with a bar of soap.
Yep.
And then you wrap it.
Or a hairbrush.
I can't relate to that, but...
Well, obviously I can't either. But B&G Pickles over in Hurlock,
okay,
they make, all kind of dill products. Baby gherkins, hot dog relish, pickled onions, dill spears.
Okay.
In the summertime, they'll want a picnic pack, they call it.
Okay.
So you got 4 little jars of something. We put it
Right,
together.
and a little thing,
put a nice little tray around it. Put some nice shiny shrink wrap on it. Boom. Create pallets for them. They sell that stuff to Costco and Walmart and Sam's Clubs. We do a lot of big mailing jobs. You know,
at the Air Base thing,
no, at KSI.
Like a bulk mailing.
Yep, like 5,000 pieces or more.
So you mean you would do the folding?
We'll do whatever you need us to do. I mean, it
You mean design it too?
I can help you with that too. Now, if there's a cost for all that,
right?
But
there's a cost if you had your own people do it too.
Well,
meaning if I had my people do it, there's also a cost.
Well, about a year ago, the Federal Postal Service changed the regs on bulk mailing to where it became difficult for people to continue to do their own.
Okay.
So we invested in Pitney Bowes software.
Okay.
And so we made a serious financial investment in that, and it's to the point to where we did so much of our own because we have a 5,000 to 6,000 piece newsletter we send out 4 times
that you probably get a better rate.
Yep, absolutely.
Than I could even get.
And we mail a calendar, 6 or 7,000 calendars. So we had enough bulk mailing of our own that it made sense for us to do it. And then we said, well, since we know how to do it, why not sell it to other people?
Right.
I mean, we're doing.
And you've already hurdled the expense.
Yep.
Of getting everything.
We do water bills for municipalities. We do all kinds of stuff.
Really?
Yeah. We also remanufacture toner cartridges for laser printers.
I use those.
Yeah, I know. I see Weller's trailer showing up on the deposit slip.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. And we're very happy.
It's a smart move.
And I think I heard somewhere that they come with more ink than if I bought them new.
Absolutely.
You fill them just a little bit fuller.
Well, we get them as full as they can because that's what you want, isn't it?
That is what I want.
You want what you're paying for.
Yep. I even think there was a couple times that you might not have had the cartridge, so as soon as we got an empty one, we sent it to you, and then from then on,
you're good.
We could get you to do our cartridges.
So you must have had a brand new printer.
Something. I can't remember the details, but I remember.
That's the only time that cartridges are in short supply is when there's a new product
when it's
that comes
something brand new.
Yeah, when it's something brand new. But there's a huge.
And you deliver them.
Absolutely, door to door.
Door to door. I see the van.
All 3 counties.
No kidding.
Yeah, no extra charge for that.
Whose idea was that one?
That was mine. We hooked up with another guy that had. We bought like a franchise from him. Okay. But his model wouldn't allow us to make any money. So we got out of the franchise and said we're going to get smart enough to do this on our own, which we did. We found the supply sources. In 1996, we started that business.
Now, did I also hear the man that does that is blind?
John Henning. John Henning is
and he
completely
puts
blind.
all that stuff together.
He's our best technician.
Isn't that something? How long has he been with you?
John's been there probably over 20 years.
So you had a full head of hair when John started?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, actually, John's talking about retiring. I think John turned 62 this year. And I said to him, John, why are you retiring? He goes, that's what you do when you turn 62. You retire and get Social Security.
Okay.
I said, John, you don't have to.
You can keep let him going.
You're going to be hard to replace. He said, nah, Craig, I want to do some traveling, and I got some other things I want to do.
You can hire 3 guys to replace him.
Absolutely. But that business does provide full-time employment for 6 people.
Does it really?
And it's about an $800,000 a year business, too.
Wow. Well, that's good. I'd like to encourage anybody that has a business, or even if you just need them for your own home.
Yeah, I mean, we sell individuals.
Yeah, I find they're less expensive than new, and you're supporting a good organization, employing people that appreciate the job, and I'm glad to be a part of that.
It's one of the few things in this day and time that you can spend less on it and get to do the same thing you've been doing.
Right. Very few.
Spend less and get to keep doing what you've been doing. Doesn't happen very much anymore.
No, it doesn't. Now, it's a nonprofit organization. Does that mean if somebody said, hey, I'd like to donate, would a donation be what I would call tax deductible?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
And do people ever, I don't know what it's called, where somebody might pass away and say, I'd like to leave something to them?
Absolutely.
What's that called? That's a word for it. It's not an endowment.
It's like planned giving.
Yeah. People do that?
Yeah, absolutely. And we have an endowment at the Delaware Community Foundation that we started with about $10,000, and now it's up to over $400,000.
Okay.
When my wife passed, we started a Jan Crouch Memorial Fund in that endowment.
Oh, okay.
And in the past year, we've been able to raise about $10,000 in there.
Wow.
So
that's something that continually.
Well, that endowment money it gets up and goes to work every day, and you never spend the principal.
Right. You just spend what it earns.
A percentage of it every year. We're not spending anything out of our endowment. We're just trying to let it grow and get to some serious mass.
Now, what's next for KSI? Is there something big on the horizon, or
you know there is, Jim. We're really making a push to provide more services in the community for everybody, and I'm not sure what that's going to look like. But that facility we have in Milford, I see it becoming less and less of a place for folks to work. We're going to be trying to find people
you're
jobs.
Gonna mobilize everybody.
We're going to try and get everybody out in that community working that can.
Okay.
The other thing is that we're looking for our next business, a social enterprise. You know, I don't know if that's going to be.
What do you mean by a social enterprise?
Social enterprise is a business that we own, like cartridge service, where we can provide employment, it generates revenue,
Okay.
and a surplus that can come back into the organization so we can enhance our programs.
Okay. Okay.
But you know,
So that program funds the next program, which funds the next two programs.
but it's
and so on.
also creating employment for people.
Every one of them.
Every one of them, and we're trying to find a business to where the community's coming in, so we got that integration. We got the disabled person sitting beside the non-disabled person.
Right.
Not that that's everybody's got a
Right.
disability, but you know, we're looking at like a banquet facility in Milford.
Oh, really?
If you think about it,
Where you would have an event there.
you could have an event there. There's no place to sit 250
No.
people for dinner and a show. You got to go to Dover. The Sheraton just got sold, so that's one less venue right there.
Okay.
They got sold to Dell State. You got modern
That's
maturity.
right.
You got modern maturity up there in Dover Downs, which is pretty pricey. I mean, I'm not saying it's not worth it if that's your thing.
But not all events.
Yeah, but not all events can afford a venue like that. And then you got Cheer Center down in Georgetown. But
Nothing in between.
There's a big void there. Plus, there's a lot of employment that comes along with that kind of a location.
Man, I got the perfect place for you.
I know you do. That red barn.
I can see it. Gosh, you can have outdoor events, inside events.
You're a little too far south for me.
No,
I wanna-
no City of Milford water and sewer there.
Exactly. I want to try and stay around.
I don't blame you.
The other thing is, Jim, is that we are really, really excited about the sports complexes coming just north of Milford there.
And I hear that's moving right along.
That's a Bill Strickland project right there.
Is it really?
He was very involved in getting that funded and
Okay.
kept that thing alive and pushing. He deserves a lot of credit for making that happen.
Wow.
Just another example, man, of how he's giving back to his community. And I'm a real Bill Strickland fan.
I am too.
Yeah,
I like him.
He's a good man.
He's a good man. Well, do you want to give out any contact info?
Yeah, I mean, you can visit our website at www.ksiinc.org. We're getting ready to roll out a new website here in probably about 6 weeks. It's being built right now. It's going to be a real fresh look and be a lot more user-friendly. Our phone number is also 302-422-4014. And that's the number you can call to speak to me or Alicia Hollis if you'd like to have a presentation given to your group or church group, Rotary Club, Kiwanis, Lions.
What, like you would come and talk to them
I would.
about all the opportunities?
I would. Alicia would. We'd make
Okay.
sure we have somebody there. You're always welcome to come take a tour of KSI. We'd love to show you what we're doing.
Anytime?
Anytime you show up, you may have to wait 5 or 10 minutes, but
Okay.
somebody will get up. We'd rather you schedule it,
Right.
but if it doesn't work that way,
You just want to see it.
you just want to see it, stop
Wow.
on in and give us a holler, and we'll get you around the building there so you can see what's going on.
Very good. Well, I'm going to thank you for your commitment to the community and for being such a good guy.
I don't know
I've
about
known
all
you for
that,
a little
Jim,
while.
but I certainly appreciate the opportunity to be here
Yeah.
and share some information with you about KSI.
Thank you. All right, folks, we will be back again. Anthony Joseph's going to be talking about something. I think it's either going to be sports or NASCAR related. So anyway, he'll be back in just a minute or so. Stay tuned and tell a friend to watch. We'll be right back.
He said it's about $400 an hour for the class. And the guy told him, he said, if you want to have your own,
I was pointed down.
Figure it's going to cost you about $500 an hour. Yeah, I don't like to travel.
And we're back live at Jimmy's Grill in Bridgeville. I'm Anthony Joseph, joined by Brooks Ritter, NASCAR analyst.
How's it going?
Going pretty good. Now, on Sunday at Sonoma Raceway, your guy didn't win, Jimmy Johnson.
He didn't, but he is not a excellent road racer. He does all right. He's won before. I really feel he's more of a circle track racer, but he was doing pretty good. I was a little disappointed in the pit call out there at the end by Chad Canals. He changed 2 tires instead of 4, and you could tell there towards the last 5 or 6 laps they just kind of the tires went away and he started going backwards again. He did turn it up the last lap or 2 and gained most of his spots back that he had lost. From where he had gotten up to after the pit stops, but it was a great race anyway. To come out of there with a top 10 finish, I was happy. We lost some points to Carl Edwards. He got a little closer to us in the points, but top 10. I'm not gonna get all upset over that. Top 10's pretty good at Sonoma, especially considering some of the other things that happened during that race.
Yeah, he finished 9th, but the big story at the Save Mart 350 on Sunday had to be Martin Truex snapping his winless streak, and he last won all the way back in 2007 at the Monster Mile, and Martin Truex Jr. calls that his home track, and he was just ecstatic that once again he was back in victory lane. Yeah,
I was really happy for him. I once I realized that Jimmy wasn't going to make it to the front, and I knew Martin was up there. I'm like, I really hope he does it because it's got to be tough. 218 races since he won last, and it's got to be tough. You come in second so many times, and you have good race cars, and then you get wrecked, or you have good race cars and you have a bad pit stop. So that's a long time to not win a race, and you kind of lose confidence. So I thought it was good, boost his confidence a little bit because he's a good race car driver.
Yeah, he led at Texas Motor Speedway 143 laps, but could not pull out the victory. And as you were mentioning, close calls as 6 of them since all the way back in 2005. So Martin Truex, he needed that victory for Michael Waltrip Racing.
Yes, and that actually makes the last 2 years for Sonoma where Michael Waltrip Racing.
Yeah, Clint Boyer.
Yeah. So they might got something figured out there. So.
Maybe they shared some information.
Yeah, maybe we'll see next year when Sonoma comes around again, see if MWR can win it again.
And Marcus Ambrose, he led several laps. He was disappointed that he did not win. And also Kurt Busch, who led 15 times, or 15 laps, and had 2 penalties on pit road for speeding. And you thought, as you were watching the race, it might ruin his day, but he's very resilient and came back and had a solid finish.
Yeah, he's really surprised me this year. He's just been very resilient. He's just stuck in there. He's had a lot of stuff happen, wreck here, wreck there. He's had strong race cars, and I thought for sure there's no way he's going to be in this race. The good thing is the long track. So, to have the pit road penalty and have to do a drive-through penalty. It doesn't hurt you as bad as far as, a mile or a mile and a half track where you could go down a lap very quickly. So, he had plenty of time to run through the pit road for his penalties.
And that's for sure, as he finished fourth. Second, Jeff Gordon, as all the Jeff Gordon fans happy that he was very close, near the victory, but just did not have the speed, and he had some misfortune during that race also.
Yeah, and my dad's a big Jeff Gordon fan, so we were rooting for him. And then once we realized, there's not enough laps left to catch him, we were hoping for a caution. Obviously didn't want anybody to get hurt, but just, debris or something minor to close the field up a little bit. But I don't know. I think it was in the stars for Martin on that one. I don't think anybody would have beat him.
I think with about 30 laps left, Jeff Gordon's a crew chief. He needed a caution. He got the caution that he needed with the Denny Hamlin wreck. And it seemed like Gordon had a little bit of luck on his side.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
And as you round out, Gordon in second, Edwards in third, Busch in fourth, as we mentioned. Clint Boyer, another strong finish. Casey Kane in the sixth position. Marcus Ambrose seventh. Greg Biffle eighth. And as we mentioned, Jimmy Johnson in ninth.
Yes, and to see Clint Boyer up front there in the top five, I think he's a sleeper for the chase. I really do. I mean, he hasn't had any wins yet this year, but he's been up there. He's been close. And I don't think you can win the championship without wins. But, I mean, if he keeps top five of them, it's going to be close.
In the second position, you have Carl Edwards. And third, as you're mentioning, Clint Boyer. Yeah. And then it's Harvick and Matt Kenseth.
Yeah, got some big names up there.
Matt Kenseth has the 3 wins, as you're mentioning. It is very important to get a victory, and that's what Boyer's going to need.
Yeah, you need those bonus points going into the chase. Right now, you're going to have, if it were to start tomorrow, you're going to have Jimmy Johnson and Matt Kenseth, at the number 1 seed. And then everybody follows, behind that as far as their wins are concerned. So if he doesn't win a race, he's going to start at the back of the line as far as the chase is concerned. And he's going to have a deficit to dig out of. But if he keeps racing like he's racing, I wouldn't be surprised if we get to Homestead and he's a contender.
That's for sure. The next race for the Sprint Cup Series, it's going to be the Quaker State 400 at Kentucky Motor Speedway, and that's a Saturday night race. What are your thoughts on that one?
I like night racing. I really do. And Kentucky's a fairly new track, so I believe, right?
Yes.
So it's
opened in 2000.
Yep. So I think night racing really gives you a different look on things. You kind of start and it's a little warm and it starts to cool off. So there's a lot of transitioning in the cars. So I think it's more of a complete race. It's not all on the driver at that point. It's on the team. So that's where I think it gets exciting, and you really start to see what teams are solid and what teams might not know exactly what they're doing.
It's the third ever Sprint Cup Series race. Last year's winner, Brad Keselowski. And the year before that, Kyle Busch.
Yeah, I think Kyle Busch will be running up front. He's had some pretty good cars lately. He's got caught up in some stuff, and he's your interview with CJ earlier, talking about how good of a racer that Kyle Busch is. He is a very good racer, and I feel like the reason he's so good, he kind of rides on the edge of out of control, and that's why he either wins or the car is going in the garage early. So, but he races good at those type of tracks, so I would look to see him up front.
Now, a lot of tracks and track owners, they want another additional race. If you only have one, Kentucky has one, Las Vegas has one, and there's some other ones. What's the one track do you think that should add another one or deserves another one?
I don't know if I could narrow it down just to one. I'm actually a fan of Sonoma. I like the road racing. It's different. It breaks the season up a little bit. You have a lot of mile-and-a-half tracks, so it's even though each track is different, they kind of is the same. So I'd like to see another road race, and I like Sonoma over Watkins Glen, just the track layout. I really like that turn 11. It causes a lot of ruckus, and there's a lot of things going on at that point. So that would be in my tops of my list. I'd also like Bristol. I like short track racing. A lot of bumping and banging and pushing people out of the way. I really like that racing. You kind of see the the tempers flare a little bit and it gets a little more dramatic. And I like drama when it comes to race cars.
Now we're going to switch gears. That wraps up the portion of the Spinning Wheels Racing Report, the NASCAR talk. But the NBA draft is going to take place on Thursday. But the NBA Finals just wrapped up, and LeBron James is celebrating his second NBA championship. And now he feels like he's one of the elite players. I don't think he's up there in the status of Michael Jordan yet, but he's getting up there.
Yeah, he's playing well, and these finals were kind of different. It's like they were hot and then they were cold and hot and cold. But I mean that's a team sport for you. He played really well in the last game. I think he ended up being the MVP. 37 points and 12 rebounds in that last game. And I really don't think the Spurs were ever really in the game. It wasn't a big point spread, but just I think the Heat outplayed the Spurs in that last game. And I really don't think that, if you compared the Heat right now to Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, a lot of those players, back in the day, I don't think they're in the same league, if you will. I think they're a little softer maybe than back in the day.
And LeBron, some on his clutch shots, and when he takes them, he doesn't make most of them. When you think of Magic Johnson and Larry Bird and Michael, he made most of those winning shots, and LeBron's had a lot of failure till now.
Yeah, you just knew when Michael Jordan jumped and was putting the ball up, there was a pretty good chance that ball was going in. And there's a lot of good players in the NBA right now. I mean, you talk about the Heat, you got Dwayne Wade, you got Bosh, you got LeBron James. I mean, there's some big names there, but if you match them up against Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan and Larry Bird and some of those guys, I think there would be a landslide in the older era.
Now, the NBA draft, as I mentioned, Brooks, is going to take place on Thursday at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. And Victor Oladipo is being compared to Dwayne Wade. And he could go number 1 overall to the Cleveland Cavaliers. He could go to the Orlando Magic, or maybe even third to the Washington Wizards. It really depends from the top spot who's going to be the number 1 draft pick. A lot of options. Alex Len could be the number 1 overall pick. He's out of the University of Maryland. He's from Ukraine, and he's very talented. 11 points, over 7 rebounds, and I think watching the NBA Finals, you really need a good rebounder.
Yeah, definitely. You got to get up there and got to get the ball. You got to give your offense another shot. To get if you miss, you're not going to win if you miss shots and you don't get the ball back to shoot again. So that's what I think you need more. You need that more than a scorer. But the score is just as important. But if you don't get the ball, you don't have a chance to win.
And if you're watching the finals and these future stars, and you're comparing to Dwayne Wade, I think Victor Oladipo is a good one. He was the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. So you need somebody, he's about 6'4", 6'5", to lock down LeBron James. And I think when you're drafting these players, with the Heat winning 2 in a row, you have to have that in the back of your mind.
Definitely do.
And a lot of young talent as the NBA draft live on Thursday. And we'll have to see who the top pick is. Could be Alex Len, Otto Porter from Georgetown University, as the Washington Wizards are very high on him.
It's exciting.
Now, the last thing I want to talk about before we're out of time, and we about have 30 seconds left. We had the annual Miss Delaware Golf Classic yesterday, Brooks, live in Milford. We did a sports show from there. Got to interview some of the 23 contestants. Had a lot of fun, and they raised over $10,000. It's the biggest fundraiser for the Miss Delaware organization. So really, congratulations on raising money. It was a good time yesterday, and really appreciated the hospitality. Brooks, thanks for being here.
No problem.
And we're all out of time as we're live at Jimmy's Grill in Bridgeville.
Hey everybody, Jim Weller, and welcome back to Catch It Live. We are live at Jimmy's Grill in Bridgeville. There's food all over the place. It's in the air almost. Anyway, and if you've already had dinner, come on down and watch the show in person and have a piece of cake or pie or something like that. Now I got my good friend Jim Martin from the Ace Center in Seaford.
Hey, Jim.
Good evening. How are you?
Very good. How are you, Jim?
Good.
Good.
And the Ace Center just had, I don't know if you would call it an event, but was it with Greg Crothers?
Yeah, Greg Crothers and Denise Crothers.
Yes, they're both pastors.
They're both pastors in Seaford.
Yep.
And they have an evening service on Sundays.
Okay.
At 6:30.
Okay.
And their message is that they're the church for everybody else.
Okay. All
So
right.
it is
If you don't fit here, come here.
Exactly.
Is that the best way to put it?
So they try to reach out to the ones that have fallen through the cracks.
Okay.
And they feel that they want to reach out to the folks that are, they just don't, maybe they're still sleeping in on Sunday mornings, and they get up around 12.
Right.
And they want to try to get them in through the door. And once you get in through the door there at 6:30, they really have a rousing,
Wow.
very,
So
dynamic
get rest
service.
before you come there.
The praise and worship. And they spell praise differently.
Okay.
So because they're attracting folks that may be a little different. So
Okay.
they spell praise with a Z instead of an S.
Praze.
Right.
Very good.
So they're really trying to reach out to the folks that may have been, not as excited about going to church. So they're trying to attract that clientele or that person that's kind of lost out there, the lost and the hurting.
But it sounds like they're doing a great job.
Yeah, they really are, and they partner with the Ace Center because we're sort of in the same business. But we do our business during the day.
Right.
Monday through Friday.
So you complement each other.
Exactly.
Right.
It's a perfect partnership.
That is. And so did they just have an event where people brought a tent and actually stayed in the tent?
I mean, what it was we wanted to have a sleep out.
Okay.
And the sleep out was to bring awareness to the fact that there are homeless people in our community and not to hide that, be out in the open with it, and then encourage people that may want to help the homeless locally to drop off a tent and a sleeping bag. And if they wanted to stay and sleep in the tent and a sleeping bag, they could do that.
Okay.
Or they could just drop it off.
And
And they could just join in on the fun they were having. It was a lot of fun. I mean, we did have praise and worship for about an hour.
Okay.
And then we huddled outside for a while and we talked about different things, different strategies. We want to have this hope. It's called Hope. Help open people's eyes.
Help open people's eyes. Okay.
So it's a hope event, and the next time we do this, we want to partner up with the North. Maybe they'd have a hope event up in Wilmington.
Oh, that's a
and they
great
have one
idea.
down here in Seaford. Maybe one over in
one over towards the
Georgetown.
beach or something?
Maybe over in Lewis, and then maybe over in let's say Smyrna, Delaware. I mean,
Okay.
wherever we might be able to organize different folks that care about this issue, and then we do it all on the same night.
Because Greg's eyes were just recently open to the issue.
Yeah, right. I mean,
Is that right?
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
under the impression
he reached out to the Ace Center, and on the very day that he reached out to us, there was a man in need, and he told the story the last time he was on.
Yep.
But basically, he just happened to be on the phone, and I said, Greg, there's a guy you can help right now. I mean, a guy just called. He's stopping over in a few minutes, and I gave him his name, and I said, this man really does need help. He's trying to get closer to his son, and he's, there's a few things on his list.
And the needs, from what I understand, are really simple.
Yeah, they're really
They
simple.
need some clothing or food or a tent. A tent seems to be a big thing because they're homeless. So at least it gives them a roof.
Some cover. And
Right,
they don't want to get
cover,
bit by
right.
mosquitoes.
Correct.
It's a very basic thing to have. Just cover. They just need some cover for a little while until they find a job.
So
And time again, I mean, what we do at the Ace Center is really accept whoever may show up at the door. We accept them no matter what. We don't ask a lot of questions initially. We just show love. We show
Right.
you're accepted. I know you're having a hard day, but let's not talk about that right now. Are you hungry? Do you need something to eat?
Right.
Why are you having such a bad day? Let's talk about that. Let's not talk about all the details.
So you have people come to you every day?
Almost every day, yeah. New people
Really?
show up. Yeah, one or two every day. They kind of
Every
trickle
day?
in.
Wow.
But now that we've been there for a while, we've been there about 2 years now.
Okay.
Were
you there in the very beginning?
From the very beginning, yeah.
Okay.
And people just know about us now. They just keep reaching out.
Word of mouth.
And all the churches, we've linked up with all the churches in the area. We got a call from Georgetown Church today about a mother and 3 kids that are staying at the Classic Motel.
Really?
And we try to network. It's really about, like I tell the story about God's the links in the chain of God's love. really, we don't do that. The stuff we do is really not that hard. It's all we do is make sure that our link, the ACE Center, is strong. So if they come through our link, that it'll lead to other solutions.
Correct.
We just want to hold up our link and make sure it's strong. So if they come through us, it's like if they come through our door, then they'll be able to get their problem solved. We want to be resourceful.
Right. Steer them in the right direction.
In a problem-solving kind of place. Like if they need a bike, for example, we have bikes. I got a beeline on bikes, used bikes.
No kidding.
People. I put it out on Facebook. I need a bike. The guy needs to get to a job. He needs to get to a job from Bridgeville into Seaford. He's. Even with a guy that might not be homeless, but he may be teetering. He may be teetering on the edge of homelessness.
But if he can get to work,
right? If
he can be mobile some.
So we really try to get into solving the problems of whatever they might be going through, and also we take the shame part out of it because we've all been there. So we know it's not about being ashamed of what's going on. It's about, are you ready to solve a problem? And we're here for you. We're not going to judge you. We're not going to think that you're below us or anything like that. We have that. If
you're just more focused on how can we get started helping you.
Yeah, if you walk into the ACE Center, you're a friend of ours, and we're going to figure this out. It's like going back to mom and dad's. Like sometimes when you're really down on your luck, where do you go? You go back to mom and dad's. Maybe they're not too happy, but but you do get into the discussion.
Familiar surroundings.
You get into you need a meal. You need to wash your clothes. We have a laundromat only a block away. So sometimes we give a few quarters to do a load of laundry. I mean, where we're positioned is perfect for being a good neighbor. Because we have all the stuff right there. You don't have to walk too far.
It's a community center.
Yeah, it's a community center.
Now, how many people work there?
Only me. I'm the only paid staff. I'm the only paid staff person.
So, but do you have plenty of volunteers? Are you looking for more? Or?
Well, one day about a year ago, probation and parole called me.
Okay.
And they said, "Listen, we have a lot of people that have fines. They can't pay the fines off with real money. So, would you be willing to take them on and they could work their community service hours off?" And I thought it was a great idea because a lot of these folks, they need help themselves.
Right.
So if they come over, we all kind of problem solve together. This guy might be looking for a job. The other guy might be looking for a house. The other guy might be looking for a bike. The guy that's actually working community service hours might be looking for a bike. So we all come together. He works his community service hours off because the grass needs to be cut, the dishes need to be cleaned up, the bathrooms need to be cleaned up. So I say clean the bathrooms, and then we'll work on getting a bike.
Right. Wow.
Like stuff like that. It all kind of works.
Everybody does what they can.
Right. Exactly. And I try, and also I try not to micromanage. Like, it's not about me, and I get that really clearly. It's definitely not about me. It's about using this community center for what it's there for. If you need to get on a computer, I'm not going to be looking over your shoulder or trying to micromanage what you're trying to do. And if they ask me to, I say no, I can't do that. I can't write your resume for you. I mean, if you're trying to spell a word, I'll help you with that.
Right.
But I'm not going to write the whole resume for you.
So people can come there and write a resume.
Yeah, they can do a resume. They can print it out. They can go online. Because a lot of times when you're looking for a job, what's the first thing that you need to do? You need to go online.
Right.
And when you hire someone, you probably expect an online application of some sort, right? They need to do that initial work.
Right.
And then you can screen them from there. So you have to know the computer, and a lot of these guys don't. Wow. A lot of these guys that are having a struggle. Another thing we see is the GED, the lack of the high school diploma. So.
Right. Okay, hold on. We're going to take a commercial break. We're going to be right back in just a minute with more with Jim Martin from the ACE Center. And ways you can get involved, things you can learn, and facts you didn't know. So stay tuned. We'll be right back with Catch It Live.
All right.
Hey everybody, Jim Weller, and we are back. We catch it live at Jimmy's Grill, and I want to again talk some more about the homeless situation in Sussex County with Jim Martin from the ACE Center. In other words, what is in a week's time? How many people do you meet that are homeless?
I would say in a week's time, 5.
Okay,
on average.
And these people just have nowhere to go.
They're just beginning that first step. Maybe they lost a job. Maybe they went through a bad divorce. Maybe they fell behind in child support, and they're, all of a sudden they're worried about going to prison. They've exhausted all their available assets that could be sold, and now they're down to their last few pennies. And they're trying to figure out a way from point A to point B. Or they really need, a lot of times they need a hand up. A lot of times, and I like working with people like that. I don't like just giving money out to people that are abusing the system. And the minute that you walk into the ACE Center, pretty much within about maybe 5 minutes, we can tell whether they're using the system.
Okay.
Because there's clearinghouses that I can check with.
Okay.
I can pick up the phone in the back office and say,
hey, was so and so just here yesterday?
Yeah, because he's been tapping all the local churches. We kind of keep track of who's doing what. But when we really have a real person in need, you can tell pretty much right away that it's a real need. By their emotions.
Are the majority of the people from Sussex County, or do people? Does
a
a homeless
mix.
person travel the whole length of the state, or do they usually stay locally? Or
it really depends on what their goals are.
Okay.
Like a lot of times, like the gentleman that Craig Brothers helped,
Okay.
he was actually a guy that came from Maryland, but his son was living in Seaford.
and he was wanting to get closer.
So
to
his goal was to get close to his son.
Okay.
No matter what it cost, no matter what it took, whatever sacrifice he had to make to be close to his son, he was willing to do. So he left his comfort in Maryland and came here, and he was going to find a job so he could be closer.
Now,
That's just one case.
if somebody's watching or listening and says, "How can I make a difference?" I mean, what do you need people to do?
Well, for people that are listening, I think the best place to plug into the ACE Center is on Wednesday mornings.
Okay.
We have a prayer circle that meets on Wednesday mornings. It's all religions are welcome. It's not one particular
Okay.
religion. It's just a prayer circle.
What time?
At 8 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, so at 8 at the ACE Center on Wednesdays.
Yeah, and it's a great way to plug in there to find out, who the current folks are that we're helping.
Okay.
Who the real leaders, the leaders of the ACE Center are the ones that go to that prayer circle.
Okay.
It just so happened to be that way. The leaders,
Okay.
the spirit of the ACE Center is that we do have a spiritual recovery. And that's what we really
Focus
focus people towards. To say, this is really, if you want to accomplish anything, you have to rearrange your priorities and put God first. So Wednesday mornings,
because you've already seen what you can do with your life.
yeah, exactly. So
words.
Wednesday mornings is a chance to tell that story.
Okay.
Like on a one-on-one basis, or maybe a group of 10, we share testimonies. We share prayers that we made months ago that are starting to come true
Okay.
now. So we give them a little bit of a linear thing instead of that one-day snapshot. Because if you're praying for a house, it's not going to happen that day, as you know, right? It's going to take time. So we
might start with a job.
Yeah, so we have some guys that have been praying months and months and months ago that suddenly they did find a house. And they share that story.
Wow.
It's a very
So it's
powerful
a
way
lot
to
of
plug
good
in.
praise reports.
Exactly, praise reports right there. So
you would come on a Wednesday and you would meet some people.
Yeah, and you could go on a tour of the ACE Center. You can kind of understand what's going on, and you can get plugged in that way. And it's only an hour of your time.
Are you always taking donations?
Yeah, we're always a continual flow. I mean,
So
we need
like non-perishable toiletries?
toiletries like toilet paper, toothpaste, toothbrushes, soap, washcloths.
So in other words,
socks.
at any time, Monday through Friday, people can bring any of this and drop it off if they would like.
And backpacks too. Backpacks are, they run about
Okay.
$12. Backpacks are great because you can put all that stuff in there, and then they can just carry it on with their tent and their sleeping bag.
Tents are always welcome.
Yep.
Socks.
Yeah, socks. Anything you think of. If you could think of
Just
yourself
bears,
being home, if you could think of yourself being homeless and saying, okay, what do I need? I need, a fork and a knife. Just a fork, not a sharp knife, just a
Right.
fork and a knife. You need, paper towels or those toiletry wiper things. The wipes. Things like that. Just basic stuff.
Wow.
So you can survive.
So the needs are very simplistic.
Yes.
In other words, so you don't have to know anything to be able to go out and help.
And
somebody
trail
who's
mix is a thing I see a lot. Trail mix.
Really?
Yeah, like a bag of
Okay.
trail mix. Like that's a healthy way to eat. A lot of
Okay.
times when you're homeless, you need to keep yourself nutritionally balanced and all that. And the best way to do that is trail mix. Really, I mean, it has all the fruits, nuts. It's not too sugary.
Okay.
It can be depending on what it is. But I mean, you want to try to eat healthily. You want to try to keep yourself, as nourished as possible.
What about like I'll call it a gift card, a Walmart or somewhere gift card.
Well, I don't like to do that personally
You would,
because I don't know where that's really going. I would
that's
rather
true.
see real tangible stuff.
Okay.
And plus,
Some people,
I
they're
don't
gonna
want to
use-
be. I don't want people saying to me, "Oh, well, you know, he gets like hundreds of gift cards, and we don't know where they go to." I mean, it's more
Okay.
easier to account for tents, sleeping bags, you know,
Socks
things like
and
that.
things like that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to be. I want to be beyond reproach in terms
Right.
of people just handing out gift cards.
Right. That's a good
I
point.
feel more comfortable just getting the actual stuff.
Okay. All right. Contact info?
Yeah, contact information. Let's say the best way to find me is on Facebook. I love
Okay.
Facebook. It's so efficient. So it's Facebook, like www.facebook.com,
Right.
and then the slash, and then
Right.
helping homeless.
Helping homeless.
The
Okay.
easiest way to get in touch with me. That's
Okay.
You just
Send
friend
me
me
a
there,
message or something like
yeah,
that.
friend me there if you want to get involved. I'll friend you right back. I'm not going to, report you to Facebook if you,
Okay.
try to friend me. And then my phone number, I guess,
Okay.
302-628-3016,
628-30.
3016.
3016, 628-3016. All right, well, we're going to thank you for all your hard work.
Yes,
Did you
thank
just
you.
recently receive an award?
Yes, tomorrow actually. Roger
Really?
Marino. Yeah, Roger Marino is going to stop by at the
Okay.
Center tomorrow morning, Channel 47.
Okay.
Yeah, they have an award called the Better Delmarva Award. I
And
think
you are the recipient.
Yeah, I think they do it monthly, and some people I think from the Seaford community nominated me for that.
You do a good job. I know you don't want a lot of recognition, but you are doing a good job, and I think you
Yeah.
should.
I mean, the limelight is a little rough for me. I'd rather be, at the A Center. That's
Right.
where I'm the best.
Right.
I mean, that's where I feel like I'm most comfortable.
Right.
I'm not so much out in the. I mean, I know you're a big marketing guy, and I know I have to be more like that. Probably, I have to be more like Jim Weller.
I don't know about that, but we all have to reinvent ourselves and market ourselves.
That's right. That's right.
So.
You got it.
All right, Jim, thanks a lot. Good
Nice
job.
job.
And
Yeah.
folks, we're going to be right back with my next guest, so stay tuned to catch it live. We'll be right back.
All right. Thanks, Jim.
Good job.
Good. Thank you.
See you.
And welcome back. We're live at Jimmy's Grill in Bridgeville. Now I'd like to welcome in my special guest, Mike Johnson from Peninsula Financial. Thanks for taking the time today.
Glad to be here.
Now we're going to talk about scams, and first we're going to discuss charities. And when somebody donates, it seems like some of the money is not used what its intended purpose is.
Well, and that's why I'm a big believer in supporting local organizations, because local organizations are ones that we know, that we can reach out and touch and feel and see the benefit of our dollars. And the problem we have today is that there's so many organizations that sound alike, that's like especially on a national basis, because either they tag themselves to a particular health condition, or in some cases today even more so, veterans or firemen or policemen. So the problem is, who are these companies that are out there? Who are these organizations? And how much of the dollars that are being solicited actually go to the benefit of those victims, or those veterans or firemen or whoever they're purporting to support? Because I know there's been some studies that have been done recently. The Tampa Bay Times, for example, did spent a year evaluating over 6,000 charitable organizations, and they came up with a pretty interesting list of organizations that give back very little of that money.
So what are some of the worst charities, according to the research?
Well, according to the research, they picked their top 10 list out of that. But they really earmarked 50 charities that had those 50 charities giving the money directly to the people that needed it, that over the past 10 years, over $1 billion, that's $1 billion, went to the solicitors. Not to the organizations, but to the people that were calling you on the phone or sending you letters or reaching out. So the money really wasn't going to the individuals that needed the services, whether they were storm victims or victims of cancer or other health issues. It really was going into the pockets of the solicitors. So one of the things I do as a tax consultant is I ask my clients to keep a list of all the companies that they make donations to. And I tell them to keep it in their checkbook. I said, because it's a lot easier to look at this 3x5 note card and see who have I donated to, and actually who are these organizations. And some of them have been amazed at the names that are so similar to what they thought was like the American Cancer Society. Well, how many variations are there of companies out there with cancer? Who knows? Are they legitimate? Well, they may very well be 501c3 organizations, and that's the IRS code that makes it a nonprofit, that makes it tax deductible. But it doesn't mean that all the money is going to benefit of those individuals. Let me give you an example.
Yeah, were you surprised from some of the charities that were on that list that were misusing funds?
Well, I don't know if they were misusing funds, or it's just that from their perspective, any money that they receive is better than no money at all, without thinking in terms of how much of that money could they have kept for themselves.
Because some organizations, when you donate, their intended purpose, it seems like, is that the donation is going to be helping the victims, not going to the solicitors or going to other resources.
Exactly. And when you have a situation where people are making donations, and take the Children's Cancer Fund of America. Well, last year these solicitors raised $37.5 million. Out of that $37 million, the solicitors kept over $29 million. So what actually got paid out to the children who had cancer was only about 5% of the money that was actually collected. So if in my personal life, I like to donate to local organizations. I grew up in Georgetown. I played Little League baseball like half the world has. I went to Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts. they're the ones that are getting my money. I make donations to the local Little League, make donations to the Boys and Girls Club, I make donations to organizations like KSI that was on earlier, this evening. So those are organizations that I know can use and need the money. And what better place than to have it here at home? Now, it doesn't mean that I don't believe in supporting the big national organizations that are doing cancer research. The American Heart Association, of course, is a bona fide organization, and I believe in giving donations to companies like that. But I'm always suspect of who's calling me on the phone and why are they reaching out trying to get me to make a donation.
So if you want to donate to like the American Red Cross, is it better for you to call them and say, hey, I want to donate, than somebody actually calling you? How do you verify that somebody's actually calling from the American Red Cross? Well,
it's not a question so much of who they're calling from, because like Red Cross will send out mailers, so you know who it's coming from, as long as it's the American Red Cross.
But somebody could actually misrepresent them and say they
or have a name that's similar
yes.
to that. I mean, that's the problem. It's not so much the good guys, the good organizations. It's how are they trying to generate money? And when you have someone like the American Cancer Society, American Heart Association, they're doing their own direct, solicitations. So yes, all these organizations are going to have administrative expenses. KSI has administrative expenses. That's part of life. That's part of doing business. But KSI is not taking, giving 90% of the funds that are raised to some solicitors. They're being put to work. It's just like with their KSI and their calendar. Money that people donate who receive the calendars, that's going right back into the coffers of KSI, which is being put to an excellent use. So it's like when you buy any products, to me a donation is like buying something. You want to be buyer beware, be aware of where the money's going to. Unfortunately,
you really do your research, I guess, before you donate.
You really do, because there's too many scams out there. We all, read in the paper or on the internet or hear on TV about various scams that have taken place and how people have lost their life savings. But I'm a big believer if it has to pass the smell test. If it doesn't smell right, then I'm going to check it out. So scams, unfortunately, are in there with charities. I mean, it's not so much a scam as understanding who's actually getting paid and what money is going to be left over for, the victims. So
if you stay local, most likely you're going to be okay.
Well, if you stay local and the money's used locally, it's being a direct benefit. That the community is going to benefit from it, which benefits all of us.
Now, another thing I'd like to talk about, according to complaints filed with the Better Business Bureau in 2010, victims across the country have lost a total estimated $250,000 to advance fee loan scams. What can people do to prevent from being duped from online scams?
Smell test. If it doesn't smell right, doesn't look right, then maybe it isn't right. And anytime someone gets a notice of receiving an award or a prize, and the first thing they say is, well, you need to send us a check. Well, if I won something, why do I have to pay for it? So what's really behind it? It's like the folks that oftentimes want to get rid of a timeshare. So they'll contact someone and someone says, oh, well, we need a $395 fee to sell your timeshare. Well, what's the $395 going for? It's going for them. It's going for their pocket. It's not.
So what are some of the red flags?
Well, I think a red flag is a lot of it's common sense. And sometimes common sense is hard to separate out when you're talking about emotion. When you're talking about emotions, and you hear tell of people being contacted and saying your child or their grandchild is in Mexico and is in trouble in jail, and we need to bail him out. Check it out before you go wiring any money. It's and again, it's a play on emotions, and that's typically where it's coming from. Woohoo! I'm excited. I won a prize. So you're all excited. Oh, you mean I need to send you a check for $195? Well, for what? People should be asking questions and trying to get into a little more detail about what's going on.
So people have to really be cautious when somebody emails them a prize or something over the internet.
Emails, internet, you got to be careful. One of the scams that have been going around in an effort to get people's information was outfits claiming to be from the IRS. Well, the IRS does not send out emails. The IRS sends out letters. So if you get an email and they're saying they're from the IRS and they need certain information to verify who you are, well, believe me, Big Brother already knows who you are. Big Brother already has your birth date and your social security number and your address, so you don't need to provide that information. The scary part is how many people fall victim to identity theft, which is the biggest scam we have out there today. People get a hold of your identity, or they get a hold of some of your information, and you're being taken advantage of. I know I personally encountered that last year. I took a road trip to Florida to see my son and grandson, and no sooner than I'd been back maybe a week, and I actually got an email from one of my credit cards, and I almost didn't open it, but it was from the security department, so I did open it, and they gave me an 800 number, which I called, and I was able to verify who they were, and someone had gotten a hold of my credit card number and was using it to get cash out of cash machines, and even went to McDonald's and bought something with it. And fortunately, because of the credit card company, and their agreement I have, I didn't lose any of that $2,000 that was someone had basically beat Chase out of.
When you want to purchase an item online, when there's a lot of good deals, it seems like a lot of companies now, if you purchase it online, you can save an additional 30%. Is it best with all these scams just to call them up or actually go to the store and purchase the item instead of relying on giving all your credit information online?
Well, before I would be giving my information online, yes, it's a good thing to verify who you're really communicating with. Whether they furnish an 800 number or some other means of you contacting them other than just through the internet. And again, if it looks too good, sounds too good, does it pass the smell test?
Before we wrap this up, because we're running out of time, talk briefly about what you do at Peninsula Financial in Georgetown.
Well, one of the things that we do is our income taxes. My father, Leighton Johnson, started doing taxes in Georgetown in 1948.
Former mayor of Georgetown.
Exactly. So literally there's been a Johnson doing tax returns in Georgetown for 65 years. But that's a small part of what we do. Our main focus is in working with families and individuals and helping them to obtain assets, because you got to obtain assets if you want them to grow, help those assets grow, and then helping the transition to pass them on to the next generation. So we're really life planners, because we work with individuals who are working now, young individuals, as well as individuals preparing for retirement. Then you get into retirement, and how do you enjoy retirement? Can we help them take some of the stress out of life by either helping them reduce their income taxes when possible, as well as to help them manage their money? Because we do investments, we do insurance, and we do taxes. So we're kind of a unique organization between the staff that I have on board, we're able to help people in all those different areas.
Do you want to give out any contact and information?
Well, we're on the World Wide Web too. www. Peninsula Financial Group is our website. And then being in Georgetown, my number is 856-9778.
You have an email address that you use?
I do, and it's Mike at Peninsula Financial Group. It's a long email. Unfortunately, we couldn't use the short hyphen of PFG because that's owned by Principal Financial Group.
Oh, okay.
And they got bigger pockets than I do.
Right. Okay. Thanks, Michael, for taking the time. I really appreciate it.
It's great being here.
We're all out of time, but coming up, Jim Weller and Colin Walls as they put the finishing touches on this program.
Hey everybody, we're back.
We're
It's
back.
been a good night here at Jimmy's Grill. Very brisk
Yes.
crowd here
Yeah.
in the restaurant, and people eating, and the smell of food.
Yeah.
It was just good.
Yep,
So-
that was all very interesting stuff. Craig
Yes, it
Krause
was.
from KSI, that was good stuff.
What an organization.
Yep, Jim Martin from the Ace Center.
Yep.
And
What a man.
What a man! What a man!
The man, the myth, the legend. Jim Martin.
This,
Oh, okay. See you guys.
Doing great work here in Seaford. so-
Yep.
Or down the road in Seaford, I
Down
should
the
say.
road in Seaford. Yep.
Mike Johnson from the Peninsula Financial Group.
Yep.
Very interesting stuff there
Very
about the fraud.
interesting, yeah.
So, but this is our last night here. It's
For
kinda-
a few months.
Yeah,
We're
for
going
a
to do
few
some
months.
other things in the meantime, so we're going to be around.
Right.
But as far as the Catch It Live show here at Jimmy's Grill, we're going to take July and August off, but I do want to make sure you know that we are going to be doing some bookings here pretty soon. We're looking for ideas if you have an idea for us, but if you have an event that you'd like us to come and stream and so on and so forth, if you have any thoughts, if you want to be involved in any way, shape, or form, give me a call, 337-7300, 337-7300, if you want to talk about Catch It Live or anything that's going on.
And if you haven't gotten down here since we've been here at Jimmy's, not just tonight, but anytime, if you've never been down here, we got a video. We just kind of want to show you what goes on behind the scenes here. So you
Yes.
just want to leave our volume up and we can kind of talk everybody through it,
We'll
Brooks.
narrate it for
Well,
you.
we will narrate it. So
This is the video.
Go ahead with the video.
Yes.
So that guy looks familiar there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this was last week here. You might want to turn the volume on the video down, Brooks. I didn't think of that.
It's blaring.
If you can. Might be too late now. That's our monitor. That's what we're actually watching right now.
Yep.
There's also an iPad there. We have the live feed going on.
We
that
have three
watch.
cameras.
Yep, 3 cameras. There's the back of
There's Brooks there, right there.
that is
there's
Command
Grant.
Central there.
Yep.
So we'll come around
Fire extinguisher.
just in case all those
Just
wires
in
get
case.
hot.
Yep.
There's the all-important ketchup.
Yeah. Brooks has got 2 of them.
Dual
He
ketchup
won't even
stack.
share them with Grant. Poor Grant's over there just wishing he had a bottle of ketchup. But no, Brooks has got them all.
So that's the computer that Brooks watches the feed on. Mm-hmm. That is it's a keyboard and a mouse. There's the back of Brooks' head.
Yep. There's
The
some
moment
extra
everybody's been waiting
microphones.
for. That's Grant.
That's
Grant is
Grant.
watching all the different cameras and switching between them as
Need be.
need be. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So there
Brooks
he
didn't let him
goes.
have any ketchup or a straw.
There's the transition.
Boom. There it is.
Yep, and there's all the different feeds. There's the official time clock down there at the bottom.
Yep.
That is a 32-inch television there that Grant gets to watch 3 or 4 different programs
At
on.
one time.
So there's a computer. We've got a Mac Mini there. We've got an Atom television studio. We've got a 12-input audio. We've got wireless mics. What do we have? 6, 4 lapel mics, 2 handheld mics. This is Jim.
I look thinner from the front, straight on.
This is Jim doing an interview and taking us to commercial.
Mm-hmm.
So there's the commercial break. Everybody just kind of relaxes in between.
Yeah,
And
we thank Jimmy's Grill for allowing us to have this much of the restaurant.
absolutely.
Every week we've been over here, and they've just let us have this whole side to the front end.
There's our computer with the monitor. There's
Yep.
the time,
Another camera.
the official
Timer.
clock here.
That was a power strip.
Yes, there's another camera. So it's pretty interesting stuff.
It
If you're
is.
into lots of wires and gadgets, it's pretty neat to see the event. As you can see, all the wires there. I hook those up every
Every
week.
week.
We've got
Tom
spare
does a
mics.
great job.
We've got handhelds on standby in case something happens to our mics. And so there it is. I believe that's enough. And then Brooks, look, Brooks is playing on his phone, doing non-work stuff.
There he is. See?
Uh-huh.
Solitaire.
Playing on Facebook.
Yeah, he does that at work a lot too. Says it's a brain exercise, but I'm not convinced of it.
So there's Anthony
There's
Joseph
Anthony
and Martin
Joseph,
Donovan.
boring Martin Donovan.
And that is the feed there that Brooks monitors.
Right.
So he's seeing everything you're seeing. So we make sure everything is
Anthony
just right.
crying?
Oh, and there's the headphones. Yamaha headphones. It's got a 2-cycle engine on them. All right, I think that's enough, Brooks.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
All right, so
Yeah.
as you can see, We bring a lot of equipment here every week.
Yeah, we do.
Colin does a great job of setting it all up. Grant and Brooks do a great job of running it. They've been an invaluable part of our team. So we don't know exactly what we're going to do. We got the building in Ellendale. We're going to work on some ideas there. We're going to probably be back here first part of, August, September?
September. Yep, we're taking July and August off.
July and August off. So we're looking for ideas. We're going to be here every Friday morning still, though. Is that right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Every Friday morning with Dan Gaffney's show in the back.
There's some people leaving. They're like, uh-oh, they've spotted me. So anyway, yeah, Friday mornings, 5:30 to 10 o'clock. You can watch the pre-show at 5 o'clock.
The pre-show show.
The pre-show show, yep.
Starts about 5 o'clock, or unless I'm running late, it's 5:10.
Right. But we have a lot of fun on Friday mornings. I'm not positive we're going to do this, but I think Sunday night we might go up to Legislative Hall and interview some people and see what's going on.
Yeah.
I halfway feel like it, halfway don't, but it's going to be a doozy. And what we're going to do is we're going to try to get them to draft a bill to help fund our Catch It Live helicopter.
Right. Yeah, so sneak it in at the last minute so nobody
last
can do
minute,
anything
they won't
about
read
it.
We'll just bury it
That's
under
right.
700 pages of copier paper.
Well, all we got to do is just make it a real long bill. Nobody will read it then. They're like, I don't want to read it. Let's just pass it.
I'm tired.
It's only $5 million.
Right. Just let them have it. So that's our goal, is to get a helicopter, have a studio, earn a little bit of income from doing this.
Yes, absolutely.
And we've had a lot of fun, though. So, again, if you're watching or listening or you see this for the first time and you say, what do you guys do? We're not entertainers, okay? We're not going to entertain you. But we'll interview you. If you have a business and you want us to just, walk around and highlight your equipment or your vehicles, or, if you want us to show your financials right on the live stream type thing, we can do whatever you need. So we have fun with it. We're looking for things to do, things to get into. Give us a call, 337-7300, or you can shoot me an email at Jim, and that's JYM. Everybody thinks it's GYM. It's JYM. It's JIM at catchitlive.com.
Or Colin at catchitlive.com. COLIN. See that down at the bottom?
Colin.
Right there.
Right about there. There it is.
I'm watching it in the monitor, so everything's backwards. But right
there.
There.
There you go.
That's hard to do.
Good. I can see that. Can't be that hard.
Yeah, see?
Right there.
Yeah.
Right there. All right.
Yeah.
All right, so thanks a lot. And again, we are looking for ideas, we're looking for guests, and we're most importantly looking for direction. So other than that, thanks a lot. Anything else?
And we're looking forward to 2 months off.
Yes, we
but
are.
We're going to be working in the meantime. So.
Yes, we are. All right, so after we get done here, being on here 2 nights or 1 night a week for no charge, we're going to go out and cut grass for free.
That's right. So if you need your
grass cut,
call
Grant
GYM.
Call Grant or Brooks, and they'll steer you in the right direction.
And once again, we want to thank Jimmy's Grill again for
thank you very much.
letting us use this room
And
every
all the
Tuesday
staff
night.
here does such a good job. They're so
do.
accommodating, so helpful. The food is great. So if you've never been to Jimmy's Grill, they also have a big catering business too. We encourage you to check that out. 337-7575, and tell them that we sent you. But if you have an event you want catered, they pretty much are Delaware's largest caterer. They can handle 5 events a day, 10 events a day, whatever you got. They know how to cater, and their food is consistently good all the time. Large portions, very fair price, and also no sales tax. 337-7575 if you want to call Jimmy's Grill. Other than that, we done?
Yep, we'll see you Friday morning here at Jimmy's Grill with the Dan Gaffney Show, 5 a.m. for the pre-show.
Yep, we'll be here. See you then. God bless you. Have a good night. Goodbye.
Good night.